AOC is a very polarizing figure in America. Whether you love her or hate her, it is undeniable that your feelings about her will be passionate. This is because AOC is a populist. She was a bartender before she ran for Congress. She ran saying she was going to gut the establishment. Funnily enough, these are things that Donald Trump also ran on when he ran for president. Many AOC supporters actually voted for Donald Trump as well, and vice versa. And it's interesting because both of these candidates would be considered populists. I think it's clear at this point that populism is the new political movement in America. And I also want to stress this doesn't just mean Republicans. As previously mentioned, candidates like AOC and even Bernie Sanders could be considered populists. And these are candidates who've been able to garner a lot of support from working class Americans, which is a demographic that establishment Democrats have failed to gain support from. In retrospect, America having a populist movement was pretty much inevitable. We're going to go over all the signs that were pointing to this. The first being that the average person has a much higher distrust in celebrities and the elite than previously. Celebrities all have carefully crafted personas. However, in modern times, people are seeing through these more and more. One good example of this is Oprah Winfrey. For most of her career, she was seen as a generous person. However, more recently, her and The Rock had a campaign attempting to get funding for hurricane victims, and they were completely bashed in the comments of the post. Many people criticized them for asking for donations when people couldn't even afford groceries, while they sat on millions or even billions of dollars and donated nothing. I think it's clear that people are fed up with celebrities and the elites. The second sign is the increased wealth gap between the rich and the poor in America. As America's middle class shrinks, the amount of rich people in America is getting smaller, as the amount of wealth they possess getting larger. Corporations hold a large amount of wealth as well as political power in America due to lobbying. And because of this, people have a large distrust for big corporations. Politicians accept donations from said corporations, which then influence their decisions politically. Populist candidates attempt to fight back against bought and paid for candidates. They are the complete opposite of a candidate who is bought and paid for. As the American people grow wiser to corporate lobbying efforts, populist candidates will continue to gain more and more popularity, while establishment candidates will be looked at with more distrust. The third sign is that people now, more than ever, want things that are genuine. Joe Rogan has one of the most popular podcasts in the world, and whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that he speaks his mind. Joe Rogan himself could be considered a populist. While many Democrats will bash Joe Rogan, back in 2016, he actually supported Bernie Sanders, who is a populist. I would argue that the Joe Rogan podcast had more influence on the election than traditional media did. For years now, traditional media has been falling out of favor with the American people. Because of this, more people are choosing to get their news from other places. This could be Joe Rogan. This could be one of the many independent journalists on apps like TikTok, and it shows that people are now choosing to support people who they can connect with. Populist candidates are able to connect with people on an emotional level, and this is why we see such diehard support for them. Trump is a great example of this. Whether you love or hate the guy, you cannot deny that his supporters are very passionate. Populism is not a new concept. Many countries besides the US have had large populist movements. However, this is the first time populism has come to the US, at least getting this much support. I can definitely see populists like AOC running for president in the future. Unlike Kamala, I think she could actually have a decent chance at winning. A lot of people are spinning the narrative that the Republicans are the new party of the working class, but I believe this is simply not the case. America is just now a populist country, and the Republicans were able to put up a populist candidate. The Democrats could have done this once they ousted Joe Biden, but they chose not to, and in the end they lost. However, if they are able to put up a populist candidate next election, I believe they could win. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.